It's lasagna, but ready in under an hour. Same comfort food vibes, but with an added boost of fiber. And according to the test on my CGM, absolutely blood sugar friendly. I got all my ingredients ready to go, so let's get cooking. We're gonna start out with the base to our sauce. I've got an onion. This is a giant onion, so I don't need the whole thing. We're just gonna take half of this one. So we take that half an onion, as well as 5 cloves of garlic. You could put more if you're a big garlic fan, like my husband's family. And I just leave them in the skins because they're gonna actually be easier to peel after we cook them. This is what builds the base to our sauce. And I've got 2 whole red bell peppers and then a nice glug or 2 of olive oil. This is where we're gonna moisturize our hands a little bit by just rubbing everything down with the oil. Sprinkle of salt, because we like to season as we go. I'm gonna put this in the oven, which has been preheated to 400 degrees to roast it all up. For about 10 minutes, I'm gonna flip the onions and the peppers. I'm gonna take the garlic out just so it doesn't burn. And then let those roast for another 10 minutes. Now while that's roasting, we're gonna go ahead and prep the rest of the soup, get everything ready. I've got some pasta boiling on the stovetop. I'm also gonna dice up my zucchini, which I love zucchini. I don't know, do you like zucchini? And so now I've got that garlic and it's all cooled off, so it just slips right out of the skins. It's so much easier than trying to do it beforehand, because you know that can be kind of a pain in the neck. Peppers and onions are out of the oven now. They're still gonna be a little hot to handle, but you can just go ahead and put the onions right in. And then the peppers, if you have patience, you can wait for them to cool off or just bust out your grabbers. To that, we're gonna add 2 teaspoons of Italian seasoning. You could use dried basil, dried oregano, and then 1 teaspoon of salt. And then we're gonna do 3 tablespoons of tomato paste. I love whoever invented putting them in squeezies like this. So much better than like pulling out the can, putting plastic on it, forgetting that I have it, and then having to throw most of it away. And then to that, a cup of either chicken broth, vegetable broth, you could use water. The broth will have a bit more flavor. We've got 3 cups total, but I'm just gonna add 1 cup to this initial base. And that is everything in there. There we go. All right, that is good. So we're gonna put that to the side. I'm gonna meet you over at the stove and we're gonna put it all together. So we've got a tablespoon of olive oil over medium-high heat, and a pound of ground beef, and a pound of mild Italian sausage. Once that's cooked, if you feel like there's a lot of grease in the bottom, feel free to drain some of it off. I used fairly lean beef, so I don't have a ton in there. I'm just gonna leave this be. And now we're just gonna add that diced zucchini and stir that around, let that cook for like another 2 minutes, just till that zucchini kind of softens up. So then next, we're gonna add in that blended sauce that we made. Leave any behind, get it all! And then the rest of the broth. Now that everything's in, we're just gonna let this sit and simmer for about 10 to 15 minutes, uncovered. You can keep an eye on it, but that's gonna reduce down just a little bit, get a little bit thicker, and be ready to serve. So here's how I do it. I do the pasta separate. A lot of lasagna soup recipes have you put the pasta in, but again, I like to freeze this, as well as like, I don't want the pasta to get weird in the leftovers, because this makes great leftovers. Now, of course, with lasagna soup, you could use lasagna noodles. I just like the different fun shapes, totally up to you. And I am using brahmi pasta, so it is a low carb pasta, but it is a personal favorite just because it literally tastes like regular pasta. And then for a nod to the lasagna factor, I have ricotta cheese, which also is an outstanding source of protein, and it just adds a nice little creamy factor, especially when we start to mix this all together. And then Parmesan cheese. And then if you got it, it's not required, but again, being fancy, adding just a little bit of fresh basil, personal favorite of mine. But now before I dig in, let's talk about blood sugar balance. There is a lot of good stuff going on in this dish. We got lots of protein from the ricotta, the meat, as well as that pasta. Here's my CGM results, and this is based on using that brahmi pasta, again, which is lower in carbohydrates, higher in protein. But because we have a good balance of fiber, fat, and protein, we actually could add some bread to the side of this. Like, I love my sourdough. And again, everybody's biology is gonna be different, but most importantly, how does it taste? Let's get a little of that ricotta. Okay, well, I know what I'm gonna do for the next 20 minutes, but for you, if you wanna check out that recipe again, it is linked down below. And if you make this recipe, let me know. I got a comment section. I always love to hear what you're doing, so keep me in the loop.